Let's crack on. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the RGM Experience podcast with me, Carl Maloney, that guy from RGM. How you doing? You're all right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here for another week of music. We're delving into the grassroots music industry and beyond and finding really interesting people within it. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we're with Joe and Chris from Rats. Hey up, lads.
Hello, hello. Hey up, hey up.
Hey up. You all right? How we
Hey
doing?
up.
Right, so Joe, first, I need you to show the viewers where you are at the minute and just
All right.
show
So
them.
what a diva I am. So
Yeah,
I've been I work as a pub singer in Matthew Street in Liverpool,
okay.
singing for tourists. So right now I'm just currently
Here
in
we go.
the steam rooms over there.
Look at this.
I've got my, I'm in
Look
the
at
Radisson. I'm in the Radisson. I've got a little spa membership here.
Oh, here we
And
go.
it does me singing voice wonders. It does, Carl.
That's
That's
fair
what I'm here
Your
for.
legs away, lad.
Put your legs
Get them
away.
sides, get them milk bottles away.
Well, thanks for joining us, lads. I've always been aware of you lads, rats out there in the world, being political, having a voice and doing your music and just cracking on and doing it your way, really. How do you feel like it's going?
It has its ups and downs. You know what I mean, mentally. But
Yeah.
we pride ourselves on resilience, and that's what rats are as animals,
Yeah.
in it. You know what I mean? And like the past 2 years have been quiet. That's all for good reason. We've got a lot of songs in the catalogue. Don't know what we're gonna do with them. Might be a body of work or something.
Yeah, it's been.
I don't know what we're gonna do with them. Like, you know what I mean? Hint, hint. But like other than like, that's a very expensive thing to do,
Yeah.
especially when you're an independent band. So that's like, if people, those listening who are wondering why there hasn't been new music for so long, that's why. Is that we want to be able to give people something that we're happy with, and a lot of the songs that we've released in the past, we're happy with the songs, how the songs are written, but sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, he's gone.
There he is. Hopefully the technophobe.
So he's died to her. So so that sounds exciting. Then you've been away, beavering away. It was one of the questions that I were going to ask. I hadn't seen much that you've been up to for a couple of years. So you've been away recording then, basically.
Yeah. So
Sorry about that.
You all right, mate? Crack on.
Oh, that was me mother then. Sorry.
Oh, she called.
I was like, Mum, I'm doing a super cool interview. Mum, leave me alone.
Yeah, so it was going to be. Well, I was just speaking to Chris then. It was going to be one of the questions that I was going to ask you. I've not seen much about for a while. So you've been away, creating something then in the away over there somewhere. Creating.
Yeah, and it's very expensive hobby, this music these days when you're an up and coming band. And what I was about to say before I got cut off, it's basically the songs that we're happy with in the past. I'm very happy with Patsy, and I love Jenny as a song, but I'm not happy with the recording, and that's not to do with the producer.
Yeah.
That's because we didn't have the money to go back in and do more things to it. It's not because we're not happy with who we're working with or nothing.
Yeah.
But it's like it's very expensive to record songs these days, and especially when you're independent. So a lot of the time it's like, well, if you're going to go in to go and fix like 3 little things, that's going to cost you X amount of dollars. So at the end, you just think, oh fuck it, just put it out. You know what I mean?
So more quality control now as you're moving forward as a band.
And that's what we've been making sure that we've got over the past 2 years on this, and making sure that we're happy with it. There's loads of songs that we recorded that we thought were going to be on it, but aren't on it. Do you know what I mean? So.
Well, I'll try and get some more information.
Excited for everyone to see, that we've made something that we're happy with. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And how have you felt about the last couple of months where you've been quiet? Is it Chris?
Yeah, no, we've still been touring, and obviously, we're in the studio pretty much every day. And you know what I mean, just writing and obviously content's the big thing. Do you know what I mean? At the minute, that's a lot of the free time and hard work then goes into it. But no, there has been quite a few shows, few festivals as well over the summer, which tell you went boss. Do you know what I mean? The reception ones we haven't played before.
And we've still been gigging loads the past 2 years. Like, we've done 2 tours with the DMAs. We've done 2 of our own tours. We played a gig with the Sherlocks in the O2. We played with Dylan Thomas in the Barrowlands in Glasgow, 2 nights on the run last year. We played the Why Not Festival this year, played the Kendall Call, played the Victorious Festival. We've still been gigging. We've been testing out all of the material on crowds. I'm still playing. And as well, appreciating what the songs that we've released have already done. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's nice when it sounds like you've needed the time for the recording, really, because you do see a lot of people that rush music out, and you can't really you can't once the music's out, that's it, isn't it? You know, it's
Yeah,
people
of
are gonna have that
course, yeah.
opinion of you straight away in the first 20 seconds of the song. Where if it's just an amazingly mixed tune, you're gonna get there's just more chance that you're gonna get people engaged, aren't you?
Yeah, and I think musically with the album as well is that like,
Yeah.
you know, Chris, Lowell, and Alan pre-COVID weren't in the band, but
Mm.
were all my closest mates. And
Mm.
I was in a band with Lowell and Chris when I first started when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And Alan was in the band that I first ever seen that made me want to be in a band in the local youth centre where me and Lowell met as well. And when the other members left in COVID, it was like, and the old manager left as well. You
Mm.
know, when the band first got together, it was a reggae band. It was a little three-piece, and the original three members aren't
Yeah.
there no more. Like called Mason, I like called Paul, who's now the drummer in the Mysteries.
Oh, right, nice.
Yeah, and basically, you know, it was like a reggae sort of tune sort of music that we want to play. And then when a manager got involved, they wanted us to be an indie band, like, you know, to sound like X, Y, and Z. Do you know what I mean? And when he left, and then when the other members left, you know, we had loads and loads of material that was like, no offense to any other band, it sounded like everyone else. It
Yeah.
sounded like not. It sounded like loads of things that you did before. And I wanted to do something different. And then when getting Lowell and Alan and Chris in with their songwriting and their songs added on top of that, when they were people who had respected the songwriters for years since I was a kid, who taught me a lot about songwriting myself before they were even in Rats. You know what I mean? And at every rehearsal that the Rats would do, a lot of the time, Alan and Lowell, they'd be there, you know, drinking, smoking in the background, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like when we'd be rehearsing all the time, they'd be at every single gig. So that's another reason why the albums had to take time, because they came into the band and then we've had to write an album from them coming into the band. And, you know, we had like 10 or 12 songs of indie songs ready to go that could have been an album, but we bailed them all and decided to write new stuff for all of the members involved. Do you know what I mean?
So it sounds like you're in a bit of a transition period at the minute then. And, you know,
No, we were in a transition
oh,
period
yeah,
2 years ago, but now,
oh,
now
right, okay.
that's, do you know what I mean? Like
You've been
in
through
COVID, we
the
had to go
big
through that. Do you know what I mean?
Sounds like a bad decision from the manager to try and change you into an indie band.
You know what? But I understand it, because, you know, them songs, I love them
Yeah.
songs, and I'm happy that I wrote them, and like the way they make people feel. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, you know, figuring it out for me gets me every single time. Do you know what I mean? And like, but like even so, like, you know, you could say Patty is an indie song, but that was our transition song where the lyrics and the jumpiness of it's dead hip hoppy. Lowell, that was the first song that Lowell written before Rats. Do you know what I mean? And like that song, even though it's an indie song, it still gets me going. Really, that's probably my favorite Rat song still. Do you know, Patsy. But
I can't imagine
the
it
new
being
stuff is
yeah. Sorry, mate.
the new stuff. Sorry, the new stuff is like the reggae vibe in it, lad. Know what I mean? It's you'll hear it.
I can't imagine it being an easy thing to do, to tell you lads what to do, just from seeing what you like online and that, and having a bit of a, you know, a pop at, you know, the world and all that kind of stuff. It sounds like a brave thing to do, to tell you guys what to do.
I get what you're saying. Because, like, you know, we all take influence from musicians in the past that have been quite political. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, we don't go on rants at our gigs or anything. Do you know what I'm saying? We keep it. We just sing the songs and get off. Like all the rants, that's for when we're on things like this. Do you know what I mean?
It's about the music, isn't it? When
it's about the music when we play live. Like, but when people ask us about what the songs are about, or if we do a little video on Instagram or something like that, we're not scared to be vocal. But when it comes to the gigs, we just leave it to the music, let the music do the talking.
And how have you found the transition, Chris, yourself, mate?
Believable. You know what I mean? It's I wouldn't lie if I wouldn't say it wasn't stressful. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, you've got obviously all the pre-production with the stuff we've been doing as well. That takes a lot of time. Do you know what I mean? Going back to things and revisiting it. But live, as Joe said, you know, we played together for years, so it didn't really. It was quite seamless, wasn't it? Do you know what I mean? It was.
It didn't feel like transition. It didn't feel like that we got new members. Do you know what I mean? Like, because the members that we got in were like my oldest friends who I've known since I was a kid, who I've jammed with countless times. You know, like countless times we've jammed with each other and sang together at parties and stuff like that. especially me nan's 80th birthday, like, you know what I mean? Once, that was the time where all of the lads came to ours, and we done a gig. All of my mates who just played music. It wasn't a band or anything, but you know, we've had loads of jams together before they were in the Rats. So
yeah. Well, it sounds like it's exciting times. I know you can't really talk about this. I'll just say it. There'll be an album coming out at some point. I've said it, not
there'll be
then.
something coming out, yeah, something like that, yeah.
Hard to guess
We
what's
could
going
call it a large LP, yeah.
So that's always exciting as well. Did you feel like once you've got, because I speak to a lot of bands that have just had the first album out, and it's kind of like you're not a new band then. You kind of get like even work harder after that because you're not just a new band anymore. You're established. You've had an album and you've had a crack at, you know, bringing in a prestigious piece of work out and a piece of art out. You've got to push on after that even more again, aren't you? Once you reach these milestones, how does it feel for you?
Well, it's like,
it's something that, like, go on, Chris.
No, I was just going to say, it's like when you've got an album, like obviously depending on how many you're in your band, you know what I mean? Like 5 people have now become this one thing, do you know what I mean? Where that's, you know, ourselves that have put that out, do you know what I mean? And you want to go further with it, don't you?
For me, it feels like something that you, like, you know, even though the album took 2 years to create, in hindsight, it took 10 years to create.
Yeah.
With all of us, like having to, you know, learn our craft and all stuff like that, and to get to a stage where we were happy to and confident enough to release something like that, you know what I mean? Like all of us as individuals. And then as soon as that's going to be released, it's like we're almost going to be born again and have to be babies again. and then learn more, you know what I mean? I'm really excited for it.
No, it's good. It takes a certain. So you mentioned resilience earlier, and I think just when I'm getting older, I kind of look back on myself, feeling like I was resilient. But as I'm getting gradually older, I always think like I'm not really that resilient to stuff. And being in the like, I just mean like it could be like if you've you've had some work done at your house or something, or and you've just tried stuff, or you just something, you've just got yourself out your comfort zone a little bit, and it's just not quite worked out for you. I'm always like, oh shit. But if you could build up your resilience in this music industry, you've won half the battle, I think, can't you?
Yeah.
It's always the straw that breaks the camel's back, they say. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so it's a resilient thing, you know. It's not easy, you know, fitting 5 lads into a Volkswagen Polo or something with a tool kit and 2 amps, driving 4 hours down the motorway to go and play to 15 people in Colchester. You know what I mean? Like, it's not what I mean. It's not for the faint-hearted. Like, you know what I mean? Service station scans, you know, take it out of your bowels. You know what I mean?
Well, let's rewind and ask about, let's rewind a little bit and just get to know you, what you were like before Rat. So if you rewind a little bit back to when you were both kids at school, what was the political landscape like for you guys in Liverpool before you started to get into music? Let's get to know a little bit about it before the band.
With me, I had like not like a double life, but where I'm from, I was the only kid by ours. I got sent to a really good school. I'm from a place called Kirkdale. I moved to a place called Aintree, which is where I met Chris and Lowell. And when I moved to Aintree, I ended up going to a good school down there. And I didn't make any friends in Aintree until I met Lowell and Chris, which is when I was about 14. So all my friends were in, you know, right outside the town in the city where I was from. And I had this group of mates, which is like, you know, what you'd explain working, like, you know, not just working class, but, you know, like a lot of stuff going on, you know what I mean? Yeah. And to also have that other life of going to this posh school with all of these posh kids who didn't speak in Scouse accents, who were all called Theodore and all this. It gave me a very eclectic view on how lucky I was to be going there, but at the same time about where I've come from as well. You know what I mean? And I had a really good upbringing as a kid from my mum and dad. They done everything for us, you know what I mean? We weren't posh or nothing, but, you know, I never went, out of all of our mates, I never went without, you know what I mean? And seeing all that, and like also the things that you can't help but being exposed to in Liverpool, doesn't matter if you're from a good family or not. You know, there's kids who ends up getting unlucky, you know what I'm saying about, like, and not because of decisions that they've made either, from decisions that the friends have made. Do you know what I mean? And like growing up, it was a big part, like, you know, gun crime, knife crime, all of that stuff was dead relevant to us still growing up, and like, you know, knowing people about all of that and getting stopped by the police all the time was was a normal occurrence, you know what I mean? But, you know, we all come from really good backgrounds at the same time. That's what that, which is the weird thing. Do you know what I mean? And we're not trying to be like trying to say that we're all big gangsters or not. We're just normal kids. We're just trying to tell the story of what normal kids are going through. Do you know what I mean?
It could have been really easy to go down a different route then, I presume.
Yeah, it could have been really easy to go down a different route. And we've got loads of friends, loads of really close friends who have done and how their lives, you know, they weren't as lucky as us growing up who live, you know, next door down the road. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, what was it like for you, Chris?
From a political side, what you've gone back. I know it's going to sound a bit cliche, but I wouldn't really pay attention to it. Just obviously, but as Joe was saying, I wouldn't pay attention if it was close to home. You know what I mean? It sounds a bit naive.
Oh, have you got your hand on the mic?
Oh, sorry, have you got me there?
Yeah, that's better, mate. Yeah, go on, sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, obviously just echoing what Joe was saying. Obviously when it comes to like politics, back to the question, I wouldn't really concern myself as a kid. You know, I know it sounds cliche, but I'd always really concern myself about the music. And as Joe was saying, you know, if anything happened sort of close to home, you'd take obviously a lot more notice. You know, being young, not till you get older, you sort of realise the political side and you know the effect your music has. You know, you get people chanting at gigs. Do you know what I mean? And really gravitating to your music and that and what you're writing about. But as I said, as a kid, it was just all about the music for me.
Yeah.
I've always been fascinated with Liverpool and its history and that kind of stuff. I love just having a little weekend in the city and just having a walk about and just seeing everything.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a beautiful city. I even did. I think it was this time last year. I did my first ever Mersey little boat down the Mersey. I did all the cheesy shit, but it's great, isn't it? And one thing that always stands out when I'm in Liverpool is just how everybody's just sees the light side of things, no matter what kind of situation they're in. That's kind of how it feels for me. How does it feel for you guys being actually in it?
Same.
That's similar to us. Like, you know, even though like it might be like. We always like. I've never met a kid who I've met more dreamers. Yeah, people who want to go and do something really good, but they're like, you know, people, and that can sometimes come from, you know, I'm not speaking from my own experience, but you know, kids who might have not had the best education and they haven't got anything else to go for, like a proper career, they're more likely to go and do something like boxing or music or you know, like sports or something like that, and then they go and do something really well for themselves. You know, even in the business world, like. You've got loads of scousers like that. We all wear Monster-X tracksuits on stage. And the lad who makes that, he's a local Liverpool lad. You know, there's lots of positive things going on in Liverpool right now. And scousers have got a lot to be proud about and a lot to look forward to as well.
Yeah.
You know, when we were growing up, I say it, I don't say it like fondly, but it wasn't like this now. But now Liverpool is I'd argue, the best city in the UK for kids to grow up.
Yeah.
It's got its bad bits, but it shows everywhere else. But right now, like artistically, fashion, you know, it's going, and you know, sports wise, it's going off, and everyone knows it as well. You know what I mean? And especially in the artistic community, the amount of musicians I know who are moving to Liverpool to go and make a break for it, it's quite inspiring. And you know, it's jaw dropping to think that, you know, if someone was saying, I'm going to move, it's like 20 years ago, so I'm going to move to Liverpool to make it big in music, you would have laughed at them. You would have went, it's not really the right place to go. Liverpool, know the Beatles are from there, but now the amount of record labels, the amount of festivals, the amount of booking agents that are based here, which 20 years ago didn't exist. It's a boss thing for the city, and we feel really lucky to be coming up at this time as part of that, because honestly, I think if Rats were doing the same thing 20 years ago, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, what's it like for like the people around you, musicians and that kind of stuff? How is it just for me as a promoter, and I put bands on in Manchester, and it's never been harder to sell a few tickets these days to get people out of their house to come to a gig sometimes. I know you guys are more established and you've got your fan base and stuff, but for a lot of like particularly more artists that are just maybe in the first couple of years of, you know, just trying to do whatever they can do, it seems really difficult here in Manchester, and I know it is in Sheffield, in my hometown. It's really difficult in these northern towns to get people out sometimes.
Yeah, I always think Liverpool an anomaly for this. I'll give you a few examples.
Okay.
You got the Cheap Thrills,
Yeah.
who have just sold out the Olympia.
Mm.
They were, they've got less than, I think they might have more now, but when they sold it out, they had less than 10,000 followers on Instagram. That's a really good fan base, that. Do you know what I mean? The same thing that other people are like Red Run Club, Jamie Webster, all of these people, all Scouse acts, all selling out, arenas in our hometown. I think that's just because Scousers love to get behind their own.
Yeah.
More than anyone else. I think the only city you can maybe compare it to is Glaswegians.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, the way they get behind Jerry Cinnamon and Dylan Thomas. Like when we played with Dylan Thomas last year, yeah, that's one of the heaviest gigs we've ever played. They loved it in there. Do you know what I mean?
How do you feel about it all, Chris? I've not forgot you, mate.
Yeah, it's like a hose, isn't he?
That's good. It's good.
Nah, you know what? And just going back to what you were saying about local things as well. Like you've got, the Rock and Roll Circus. This is just as an example in Liverpool. I think he's done it in St George's Hall as well. You've got Ellis Murphy as well, putting nights on with all sorts of different artists. So, it's like making a sort of community in it. Do you know what I mean? Especially amongst different sort of niches of musicians as well. Like even looking like that Fredericks, which is more like the jazz side of things of Liverpool. They've all got their own little communities, and everyone sort of helps each other. And I'll go and sit, know what I mean, and vibe off each other who like they know and they play music with, even if they're not playing. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's sort of trying to give each other that leg up and egg each other on. Do you know what I mean?
It's so nice.
It's always been a Mad Jacks community, hasn't it?
Yeah. It's so nice to see that Liverpool is that way. Because it's not like that everywhere, and it's just it's really refreshing to hear that's going on in Liverpool, to be honest with you, because everywhere else I seem to be talking to people about it's a lot harder, which is testament to Liverpool, I suppose.
Different ones as well. Like you look at that, the rap game that's going on BBC at the moment. The reality when we get all the rappers that they've come to Liverpool, as they say, for that reason. Do you know what I mean? Sort of bubbling, upcoming. That's just the rap side of things. Do you know what I mean? The band music speaks for itself with Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? And as Joe was saying with the jazz, it's all different sorts of little things that are all just making themselves better.
There's a thriving Irish traditional scene as well. Yeah, thriving. Like I make nearly a full-time job out of that on a weekend. You know what I mean? Playing all Irish stuff. So the amount of music in the city. I read somewhere once, don't know whether it's true. There's more jazz nights in Liverpool than New Orleans weekly.
Wow.
You know what I mean? But it's not always been like that. It's like the past 10 years, this city has just culturally just exploded in such a boss way, to where you just feel so lucky to be a Scouser, and you feel so happy walking around the city centre and seeing all the stuff that's going on. You just can't help, like you say yourself, Carl. You always come here for a little Scooby and a little wander.
Yeah.
So, and every bar that you walk past, there's always live music, and that's emulated onto the culture and the people, and that's why people like to go see live music here so much. Like just the concerts that have been going on in the Pierhead the past 2 years, all of the people who've been coming to play here, all the famous people and that. It just goes to show Scousers love a party, lads.
They do. It's class. So I've been having a look around the news to find a few subjects that are standing out in the news, because I've heard you two have got some opinions. So I just wanted to throw a couple of things at you at the minute.
Go for it.
There's a lot of bands. There's a lot of bands at the minute not going on X anymore, Twitter, and moving to Blue Sky because they're upset with Elon Musk for some reason, and they seem to think that Facebook is still okay, for some reason too. Do you guys, as a band, have any thoughts on the exodus of some bands that are moving to platforms like?
Are these so-called political bands though? Are these bands
No. I just think they got upset with Elon Musk for supporting Donald Trump a little bit and feel like that's their way of making a change. Which is
I don't personally. I think that anyone who puts any faith into someone else to change their life,
you've got
is a loser. The only person who's going to help you, is yourself. You know what I mean? your mum, if you're lucky, not every people's as lucky as me.
Yeah.
I've got my mum and dad, they help me, do you know what I mean? They're my politicians.
Yeah.
That's my king and queen there, do you know what I mean? To get me of my country.
I think just with that, the social side of it, like, it's a blessing, a curse, isn't it? You sort of can't live without it, especially for music. You know what I mean?
Fun fact as well, did you know Elon Musk's nan is from Liverpool?
Oh, yeah. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, so, you know, he might not be that bad, his nan's a Scouser.
What's your personal thoughts on it?
You know, I like his cars. I'd love to have one of his cars.
Yeah.
Elon, if you're watching, send us a car, mate. You know what I mean?
It just be like the most massive person in the world out there at the minute. So it's not from any kind of like point of view, really. It's just I'm just interested to see what.
Like I say, I think all politicians are narcissists, mate. Anyone wants to tell anyone else what to do. I'm not telling other people how to think or what to do or. I think people who tell that they're just trying to feed their own ego, lads. You know what I mean? Like, I can voice my opinion, but anyone else's opinion is just as valid as mine. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, did you have a thought on it, Chris, or Oatmeal there, mate? Oh, he's gone. He's bored. Fair enough. He'll be back in a bit. One thing I did like though is when did you see the thing with Kneecap other day?
I love Kneecap. I'm good mates with DJ Bobo's cousin.
Oh, nice one.
Yeah.
Did you see cousin Noel? They won the case against the government recently.
Yeah, and he sent it to both sides of the community, which is the best thing to do. You know what I mean? Like half of my mates in Liverpool are from Belfast because of where I work.
Yeah.
So I know a lot about all of that. And Liverpool's got a big history of the sectarian stuff as well. Not in our generation, but especially in my grandparents' generation. I was lucky enough to learn about that. So, you know, all of that sectarian stuff and the Irish stuff, it's not close to home, but, you know, it's in the family, you know, you feel some resonance to it, you know what I mean? It's being a Scouser. Hey,
mate, you all right? We were just talking
about... It is.
We were just talking about Kneecap. Well, here we go. So it was just so nice to see a band stand up against the government and fucking have it and win and just, you know, get that grant back and just, you know, two fingers up to the government and that kind of stuff. And just, you know, you can't. What am I trying to say? It's throughout the last few years politically, it's feel like the arts have just took such a pounding, aren't they? So it's the first place where they're going to take money from, probably care people and the music industry and the arts and everything that I'm passionate about, really. So I feel quite like annoyed that we're the first people to get attacked when they drop bollocks and fucking waste everybody's money in certain ways, and then they're the first to take our money in an industry that we love. I just like to see when it gets twisted and we get these little wins back. I like that.
Kneecap have been a big influence on us, not musically, so to speak, because we don't rap in Gaelic or anything.
Yeah.
But politically, and like, you know, how ballsy they are. That's definitely been a little nod to us going, you can get away with it. You know what I mean? You're not going to do a John Lennon on you.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean?
I've just started watching that new Beatles program, that 64 one on Disney. I don't know if you've had a chance to see it or yet.
I've seen this film that the Midas Man is about Brian Epstein. I'm really looking forward to seeing that.
I have seen that. I got a bit annoyed by that. It made the Beatles look just like daft kids. I don't know. I don't like how they portray.
Probably were at the time,
yeah, maybe. But as they got older, it made them look a bit daft. They always like to joke and that and mess about. But I don't know. I feel like they overdid it a little bit with the acting there. And the bloke playing John Lennon, I just couldn't get on board with it. But the bloke that played Brian Epstein, fantastic and amazing. And Cilla Black,
yeah.
Cilla Black, man. The Rick Rubin, Paul McCartney one. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Black and white. That's cool. Up there, one of the best things I've seen. Quality, just hearing them go through the tunes and just Rick Rubin's blown away by it, isn't he?
Yeah. It's always this time of year. I've been through Get Back again, because I tend to watch that around about Christmas time again.
I couldn't finish that, mate. You know, I just couldn't get into it. But to be fair, it's not that I don't like the Beatles, and I always argue with the rest of, especially Lowling, about this. What I'm about to say is that I actually prefer Pink Floyd. I actually prefer Pink Floyd to the Beatles.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Controversial opinion as a Scouser, like.
Yeah.
But yeah, Pink Floyd speak to me more. But I think John Lennon's solo career is better than anything the Beatles ever did.
Nice. Well, I've got tickets for Paul McCartney in a couple of weeks at Co-op Live, and it might be his last ever gig. You never know. He's knocking on, isn't he? Bless him.
You've done well there, lad.
I know, McCartney. I seen him in the Echo Arena a few years ago with my grandmother, which is special. And I told the story once in the Daily Star. My grandmother, before she met my grandfather, went on about 4 dates with Paul McCartney. And she used to go to the Casbah, which is Pete Best's house. She was the original drummer of the Beatles. And so I've got loads of. I just think I don't really like the Beatles because of that.
That's fair enough. Do you feel like Liverpool should move on a little bit from the Beatles? Or
That's a big thing about it as well. I think it's there's too many kids with mock tops and leather jackets and trying to be. They're not even just kids from Liverpool. Kids come from here a lot. And, I get it. It's like the heritage thing and stuff like this. When tourists go to the Cavern and they want to go and see someone play Beatles music, there's a time and a place for it. But as far as new Liverpool music's concerned, it does me head in bad. But no, there's loads of sick bands that do that, like sound like really good, don't do it justice. Like there's a band called Quayside that I can't stop listening to at the minute.
Nice.
I can't stop listening to them. The boss, like they got a song sneaking through the front door they're really good. And they've got a little bit of a Mersey jangly sound, you know what I mean? But for me, usually it's not for me to sing. I don't like any of my songs to be trying to be like the Beatles, you know what I mean? I'm not saying they are, they do it really well. Do you know what I mean?
And your views, Chris? Go on, son.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Music's got to progress everywhere, hasn't it? But you can't forget them. And yeah, it's like that. I know it sounds cliche, but that Mersey sound thing, innit? We've all, but I feel anyway, like even the crazy sort of ska tunes we're doing and all that. There's still, I like to think anyway, there's that element of that Mersey sound somewhere in there. Do you know what I mean? Even if it's not on the nose, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is it annoying being a Liverpool band and interviewers like me bringing up the fucking Beatles all the time?
Nah, that's.
Nah. I think you hear people bring up the Beatles loads, even if they're not from it. Like they are the biggest bands ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, like I say, Roger Waters.
Yeah, man. So just this week, new single out, Section 60. Tell us a little bit about that, guys, as well. How did this one all come about?
It was so basically one fateful Valentine's night evening. It was Valentine's Day. I was riding home from the Ratio studio and on my bicycle in the cycle lane, I might add, not on the pavement. Yeah. And I was pulled over by a yellow van. But in Liverpool, we have this thing called, we got a special police force. And it's got a scary name. It's called the Matrix. Yeah. And the Matrix are basically just bullies. Yeah. Rest of the Merseyside police, all good. The Matrix are like these bullies. And they go around neighbourhoods, terrorising kids. Yeah. If you look at the stop and after I got searched, it wasn't the fact of getting searched. It was the fact that they made me squat, and one of them placed a rubber glove quite around my buttocks. I was wondering why they're allowed to do that, and then I found out the reason that they're allowed to do it because there's a Section 60 on the area. And then I started on the area that I was living in at the time, which is Kirkdale. I was living with my grandmother at the time, and there was a Section 60 on Kirkdale. And then I started Googling Section 60 and how it happens up and down the country, only in particular areas. Yeah. And how Liverpool is one of the most highly affected city in the country from stop and search as far as statistics go. So we create more criminals from stop and search than any other city. We create more than Manchester and Birmingham combined every year. And you can get all of the stuff's on the UK government's website database for stop and search. You can type in how many stop and searches were there in Merseyside. Say, for instance, 2020, which is the year that it all happened, which I was getting clued up on it. There was 20,000 searches in Liverpool, where at the same time there was less than 5,000 in the whole of Greater Manchester, which is an area that's got at least 3 times more people, but a quarter as many searches. So that means you're 12 times more likely getting stopped in Liverpool by the police than Manchester. But then if you look at the crime statistics, then they're not too dissimilar. And the reason for the stop and searches are minuscule. 70% of the searches of these 20,000 searches that they've done this year in Liverpool were only just to do with cannabis. Whereas Manchester police spend less than 10% of their time on cannabis. Whereas Merseyside police spends 1% of their time on gun crime, on stop and search, 6% on knife crime. Whereas in Manchester, that's 40%. So their police force are actually doing a good job enforcing knife crime, enforcing gun crime, where our police, in my opinion, are just focusing a little bit too much on the wrong things, trying to incriminate people, give people fines so they can build brand new police stations and all, get a brand new police and all of this. You know what I mean? And that's what this song, it's not an anti-police song, it's an anti-Section 60 song, it's an anti-stop and search song. And it's like saying taking influence from Kneecap, it's a protest because, you know, if you grow up in Liverpool and you get stop and searched, you know, all of these times, you might have a little bag of cannabis on, you might have a big bag. Same as Boris Johnson used to do when he was a kid, by the way. No one was stop and searching him. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And it just seems like there's one rule for us, one rule for them. Do you know what I mean? And that's what the song is a protest about because, you know, how many kids grew up in middle-class areas, upper-class areas, and, you know, might have smoked a bit of weed, but they were walking around with a bag of cannabis on them, but they didn't get stopped. And I didn't have anything on me that night. That's not like, you know what I'm saying? It's not about that. I didn't get arrested or anything like that. There was nothing on me. But it's sort of like the fact that these kids are getting incriminated for just experimenting with little things. I'm not saying that they should do that, by the way. I'm not condoning it. But I'm just saying, you know, that happens everywhere, not just in Liverpool. So it doesn't happen more in Liverpool than anywhere else. Do you know what I mean? It's not like the kids don't fucking try drugs in fucking Berkshire. They fucking do. Do you know what I mean? And like, it's a protest about that. That's what Section 60 is about. It's not a song. It's more of a message. You know what I mean? But
those statistics are
for that.
Frightening. That
and you can go and Google them statistics as well. It's why I'm quite passionate about it, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I feel like I'm getting angry, but I'm not. I'm just passionate. You know what I mean?
So is this just about money then? Do you think they're getting a quota? They're doing what?
Well, when you get stopped for cannabis, you get 150 quid fine on your second time, don't you?
Right. Okay.
Do you know, and then you have to pay to go on a drugs awareness course, don't you?
Right.
There's always
and then you know, when you lose your license and stuff like this, and then you think of all of the kids. Like I know a lad, I won't name him, for instance, yeah. And he was an actor. He wanted to be an actor. He's really like, I don't know any lads on his estate. He was probably the most stand-up lad. Do you know what I mean? And he went on a night out, and then he got stopped on like 2 days after the night out, and got a random drug swap because there was a Section 60 where he was, yeah. And he lost his car, was unable to get to work, so he's got no job. And then from that, he can't become a teacher to go and be an actor because, like, you know, to be an actor, he wants to teach it to make a bit of money on the side. And then the next thing, 6 months later, that lad's fucking selling drugs. You know what I mean? Because he's been arrested.
That's
just one story of one person I know. I could be here all day and name more. But it just goes to show that when you arrest people for things, you're ruining their lives. And when you're doing it more in certain places than other places, you're affecting the opportunity overall in that place. Yeah. And like I said, there's a lot of posh things going on in Liverpool right now, but a lot of people are left out because of this. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
How do you feel about it, Chris?
As you said, whether they get something out of it, whether it's like a quote or, you know, it's all behind it. I don't know if I'm the one to comment on it. Like,
I'm the one who does all of the reading, and that's, to be fair, on all of this.
It's like he's stat man, isn't he? Yeah. Some say you're a footy score, though, could you?
You can kick your favourite. Chris will tell you all about Liverpool Football Club if you want to hear about them.
Yeah, they're the stats I'm on to, like. But no,
I'm not following Everton's stats as fondly as the minute. That's why I'm looking at fucking stop and search statistics because Everton is shit.
Are Liverpool going to win the league this year?
Oh, absolutely.
I hope not.
It's hard to lose, isn't it? You know what I mean? I'm not going to say nothing about Champions League and FA Cup, but Prem.
I didn't know the league was won at Christmas time. I didn't know that.
Forgot that.
Now things get heated. We've got football. Well,
Rafa Benitez won the league with Everton with that logic, didn't he? Look how that turns out. Hey.
My missus is a Man City fan, and my team's Sheffield United, so they don't really,
He's right, lad.
come into
It's
this.
right, Sheffield United. I hate you, Bird, for that decision, though.
And are you looking forward to Everton's new ground then?
No, I'm not.
No.
I'm really not. No, I'm gonna miss Goodison, lad. I'm gonna miss Goodison. I'm gonna cry like a little baby when it goes. I'll like it in a few years, but for the next year or two, I think I'm just gonna mourn Goodison. Especially if we go down, like.
I think you'll do it. I think you'll do it.
I think we'll survive. I think, hopefully, I'm not a pundit like Chris, like Chris has said, but I think Everton will do well against the mid-league table teams. I think we'll do well against them, but I think the top 7 teams are going to give us an absolute bumming. Yeah.
Well, I hope Sheffield United join you in the Premier League again and do a bit better than last time.
I like Sheffield. I hope you do too.
Yeah, that's what that's. Well, Joe, Chris, thanks for joining us today. Really enjoyed getting to know you and understanding what you've been up to for 2 years. That's exciting. Obviously, there's nothing official mentioned, and we haven't breached any confidential to things at all. But yeah, nice one, lads. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have you got a little message just to before I let you get off for today? Have you got a message for the people of Rats that are looking forward to what you've been up to and all the gigs coming up and all that kind of stuff? Have you got a little message for that?
Wait till you hear all of this new gear. Just wait until you hear it.
Nice.
Because you've never heard nothing like it.
Nice. Well, Joe, Chris, really appreciate your time, lads. Keep on cracking on, I think is the best way to do it. And yeah, thanks for joining us for another edition of this RGM podcast. I will see you soon, boys, and look forward to everything that you've got coming up. Thanks, lads. Nice one.
God bless, Rob. Hasta luego, brother.
Cheers, pal. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my little studio. We're just having a look around. This is where I record loads of good chats. And you know that already because you've just finished one. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed it, have a look around. Look at this. There's different videos all around here. New videos that you can enjoy too. I promise you, it'll be all right. Nice one. Thanks for tuning in again, guys. See you soon.